I've tried LUCI with a few clients, and it works really, really well for those like marginal wheelchair users. So it's not necessarily a diagnosis that it works best for, but if you've got somebody that's doing okay driving their chair or losing some function driving their chair and their caregivers aren't comfortable with them driving their chair in small spaces anymore, it's really great for those guys. Or newer users who don't have a lot of experience in the chair and aren't able to drive at the faster speeds. It really helps kind of slow them down as they approach things, and it keeps them safe.
I highly recommend LUCI for anybody that has issues with safety, driving safety. So anybody that has issues with bumping into walls, into furniture, into people, or having a hard time staying straight on a sidewalk, or for clients that drive too fast and unsafe.
I think LUCI would be great for any child that's 9 months old and not sitting, and any child who's 24 months old and not yet pulling to stand and cruising. And no limitations on vision, no limitations on intellect, no limitations on judgment. And LUCI will enable toddling for all the children who have been denied the right to toddle. And I cannot say that 3 times fast.
I have a couple of thoughts about who would really benefit from a product like LUCI and the technology behind it. First is for people that might have progressive mobility conditions, but most importantly for me is any adult or child who has previously been denied access to powered mobility in the past, whether in the name of safety, whether in the name of cognitive ability, or whether in the name of current functional status. Something like LUCI, this type of technology, has the potential to truly expand who's considered candidates for powered mobility devices, and the independence and the agency and the self-directed participation that comes along with that.
I would say LUCI is good for any client who you have concerns about their safety. So they could have visual problems, they could have visual perceptual problems, they could have trouble paying attention and focusing in certain situations or in certain environments. They could have motoric problems that makes it hard for them to be safe. They could have behavioral problems, or they could even just be really young children who are learning to drive and just haven't had the time to develop the skills they need to be safe.
I think LUCI could be very appropriate for clients who have motor, cognitive, and or visual limitations, including perceptual limitations. It can help compensate for those limitations, helping them to be safe and efficient in their mobility, and giving the driver and their caregivers confidence in their driving as well.
I have a gal that's been losing some function, and her caregivers just are not letting her use her equipment in her home at all. So she can only drive when she's outside now. And she was able to negotiate tight spaces. She was able to negotiate around other people. And, she's showing a lot of improvements and just comfort with caregiver use of her equipment.